Hello, hello, hello. I'm Morgan Stradling with the Rotoscopers. I'm here for your weekly animation live stream. These are things that I'm going to start doing every week, just talking about different animation news, the box office, new releases, upcoming releases, and any other things in between. So let me know if you're in the chat. I'm going to start doing these Thursdays. This 11, right now, I want to do it at noon Pacific time. I'm Arizona time, and Arizona kind of flip-flops between we're Pacific, we're Mountain, we're Pacific. Right now we're Pacific, and this is just a little bit too late. I was ready about 45 minutes ago, and I was kind of like hanging out. Okay, so I think I'm going to be bumping it up a little bit for next time, so stay tuned for that. But let's get going with this, all right? So last time we talked about just different box office, where things are happening. We talked about how the May box office was the largest since 2019, which is really, really phenomenal. And the news this week, the big thing is Toy Story 5. Now, I saw Toy Story 5 and I am chomping at the bit to talk about it. I'm waiting for Chelsea to see the movie so we can podcast about it. And then I want to do a YouTube review, just kind of a longer sort of video. Not too long, not a podcast long, but YouTube length video where I'm just giving my thoughts on it. I just haven't had the right time to do it. The reason I have this janky green screen is because, like I said, this room is a hoarder's paradise. There's trash, there's junk, there's clutter, there's things that need to be put away. There's more trash, and it's just not great for recording and setting up and all that. So I'm trying to figure out when and where can I do this in the meantime. So yeah, stay tuned for that, because even though I mean, ideally I should have done this last week, but I still want to talk about it. So what were your thoughts on Toy Story 5? Let me know in the comments. So just my brief mini review is I didn't love it, but I loved the first 3, didn't love 4. So I kind of knew that maybe this was going to be similar. I didn't like the direction that they had taken the series, and so why would 5 be any different? Except they did, I did hear that Andrew Stanton was going to be directing. And Andrew Stanton, and I thought, oh, that's great. Andrew Stanton, he's, Pixarian. He's one of the brain trusts. He's been around since the beginning. And then I went back and I looked at his, Wikipedia, IMDb, and he was one of the screenwriters for the original Toy Story. And he's been involved with all the Toy Stories for quite a while. So after the fact, I was like, oh, well, it's kind of a bummer. I want to pull this up real quick. Let's pull up the Wikipedia for, Andrew Stanton. I'll share my screen. Let's see. That's not it. Okay. Oh, Andrew, not Stanton. Stanton. There we go. That's the guy. And I'll zoom on this so you can see in a little bit. But I just wanted to go to his involvement. Here we go. This is the money maker. Okay, his filmography. So Toy Story, he was a writer. And then Toy Story 2 was also a writer. And then obviously all these other productions. We're going to Toy Story 3 in 2010. He was involved in story, but not necessarily a writer. He was, he was part of the brain trust. And then Toy Story 4, where are you? Yeah, he was also the screenwriter for that and executive producer. So he's more or less been involved in all of these things. And so I'm not going to go into his history with Toy Story 4, but it seems like initially, well, I guess I'm going into it. It seems like his history was that, or the history of that film was John Lasseter was going to direct and then stepped away, and it was going to be more of a rom-com. And then when it moved over, all those like rom-com elements between Woody and Bo Peep kind of got cut, and then it shifted to this other direction. And Lasseter didn't really love the direction this was going. And I want to know how that works. He was still executive producer on the film. So how do you're the executive producing a film, but it's going in a direction that you don't really want? I don't know. We got to figure out more behind the scenes what happened there. But okay, go back to Toy Story 5. So I thought, okay, Andrew Stanton's going to be on it. It's going to be in good hands. He's done Finding Nemo. He's done WALL-E. And I don't know. It just felt not great. It just felt like the message was weak. It was diluted. It was really obvious where they could have taken it, and they didn't really even do that. It feels very, at least from my perspective, that this was a very corporate push. I feel like seeing, because Andrew Stanton's a dad, and so knowing how he had these, when he directed Finding Nemo, he had all of these personal experiences from being a father and being a helicopter parent, not necessarily him, but seeing that and wanted to telling a story about that. And so he knows what it's like to be a parent. And so I don't know, and his kids are obviously much older now, but maybe he didn't have kids during the iPad generation where that wasn't really a relevant thing for him. But I don't know. It just felt like anyone who's a parent, at least for me, the message felt off. And I don't want to go into spoilers because I have a lot of time. Like and some people haven't even seen it. Famous says we'll probably see Toy Story 5 this Saturday. Perfect. So no spoilers here. We'll save that for the podcast. But it just, it wasn't very funny. I went back and I've been watching clips of Toy Story 1. I'm like, oh my goodness, this script is perfect. It's so good. And then this one just kind of felt flat. They kind of going from place to place to place. It feels very contrived at points, like how they get to this location, how they get here. I felt like there was some filler put in there, which is amazing filler. I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but I'm like, man, this would have been an amazing Toy Story tune back in the day, or the specials like Toy Story That Time Forgot and Toy Story of Terror. This element that when you see it, you'll realize, because it's so different than the main plot. Like this, it was really interesting and fun. I liked it. And it's so funny because when this is the opening scene, and my son was like, "Oh, it's like the Wild Robot." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even consider that." So, alrighty, let's go back to. Let's talk about the Toy Story box office. Obviously, this is the big movie of the summer, and it did not disappoint. So Toy Story 5, over the opening weekend, let's see, I have it right here. It did $159 million, which is wild. I mean, that's great. That's exactly what they're wanting. If you're looking at the breakdown by day, they lumped the Friday or the Thursday previews into Friday. And so that was 71 million. Saturday was 47 million, Sunday 40.8 million. And even the Monday, Tuesday was phenomenal. For Monday, we have 17.3 million, and Tuesday we have 23.7. Obviously, those are the $5, Tuesday movie specials that get a lot of butts and seats. And so even though the prices are significantly decreased, maybe not, but depends on your matinee price versus your $5 price. And I don't know, it's $5 in my location. Let me know what yours are if it's a different price, but it seems like that $5 price point really gets people to come. So yeah, it's done really, really well. I'm interested to see what the Wednesday numbers are. I think this movie is just going to have pretty good legs. And until July 1st, when Monsters and Minions comes out, right? We'll see if it's going to be able to topple that. I think it probably will. I'm always astounded at how well the Minions movies do. I'm very meh on the Minions, but man, families and kids love the Minions. And this one looks really fun. It's different enough. And that's one thing I will say about Toy Story 5. It felt like we were hitting the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like, how many times do we have to explore this theme that the toys deal with? Can we do something new? And so that's why I was thinking about the Toy Story 4 cut plot, where it was more of a rom-com, and where that's just totally different. We're not talking about the trauma of the toys and being left behind and kids growing up. Like, we got it. I think Andy's storyline kind of covered that. But yeah, and this is very Jessie story. It's interesting because when I think of Toy Story, if you were to say, is it a boys brand or a girls brand? I would say boy brand. And I think initially it very much was. And that's why they introduced Jessie in Toy Story 2, because they were getting feedback that, they didn't have a lot of stuff for the girls. And so and I love Jessie. I think she's a really, really great character. I will say, and I'm going to say this in all of my various reviews, the voice acting, it needs work, meaning they sound older. And that just happens. That's life. But it's funny, there's a clip going around of Tom Hanks saying he had to re-lessen his voice, which is an odd phrase, but he had to basically teach himself how to speak like Buzz. And not Tom Hanks, excuse me. This was Tim Allen. Because he said, sometimes I get lazy and I go back to my gravelly old man voice. And so you kind of have to get in a higher register, your old register. If you're not thinking about it, your voice wants to settle down. And the biggest one for me was Joan Cusack as Jessie. It felt like Grandma Jessie. It's quite sad. And I'm wondering, and the other two were okay, I think, because men typically do have, gravelier, deeper voices where it's not as obvious of a change, but hers really was significant. And it was sad because I felt like I noticed it in every scene. When you guys let me know what you thought about that, but made me wonder, could we do maybe a little enhancement on voices? Would that be so bad? I know the technology's there. Like, do your recording, that's great. But since this is a timeless character, can we, pitch it up or kind of clean it up a little bit so it sounds a little more pure? I don't know. And then some of the other voice actors were really off. Potato Head was off. And that's a problem. This series is, the first one came out 30 years ago. A lot of the actors that they hired were older and some of them have passed. And so Slinky Dog obviously was one of the first ones. And then Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head. And they're there. And Mrs. Potato Head doesn't say anything. Slinky, I don't think, says anything. Mr. Potato Head has one line, which is doesn't sound like him. And it's interesting. I'm wondering, because, for the legacy characters for Mickey Mouse, they go to extreme lengths to find a mirror image of these characters, even for Winnie the Pooh, right? With Jim Cummings doing Pooh Bear and Tigger. But these ones are off. So I'm wondering if, because I don't know, it maybe there's something in the contract that makes they can't rehire someone to totally replicate their voice, because that's, I don't know. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but it seems odd that you wouldn't find someone who is a direct one-to-one or as close as you can of an impressionist to cover these characters that you're hoping are going to have a longevity. It's obvious at this point, Disney is not going to stop with the Toy Story films. So, okay. Let's go to look at some few other things. So Toy Story 5, doing great. So far, domestically, it's done $200 million and internationally $152 million for a worldwide total of $352 million. And there are some movies right now that would die to have that as their overall total, not just in the first, 5 days? Yeah. So let's go. Oh yeah. Looking at the weekend, obviously Toy Story 5 destroyed the weekend. There's Disclosure Day, which is the Steven Spielberg movie that came out the week before. That did okay for the weekend, but obviously not the amount that it had before. That was getting kind of mixed reviews. Some people were loving it, some people hating it. It just feels, so I felt like it wasn't going to have the longevity just because of the mixed word of mouth that, the other ones were having. Obsession still knocking it out of the park, and Backrooms. These two together, I feel like they're going to be the 1-2 punch that are kind of always going to be next to each other. Then Scary Movie, that one did really well, but has fallen a bit. Masters of the Universe, I mean, it's still chugging along, doing $6 million. It has, for its total US gross, is $57 million, which is not great. We just released our podcast review on that. You can go to rotoscopers.com/269. And you can listen to our review of that. Chelsea is the hardcore He-Man fan, and I know little to nothing about it other than a few basic information. So that's a fun discussion that we have on that movie. We were going to, at the end of this, I was like, man, I really want to see this, the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie that they did. And we were going to do that. And then I was like, scratch that. I don't know. I think I've had enough He-Man for now. So that's not going to be on the docket. But Toy Story 5 is coming up next. Okay, Mandalorian Grogu. What a sad tale this movie has had. So it's been out. Oops. How many weeks has this one been out? 5 weeks. It's done $172 million. That was really front loaded with Mandalorian fans and Star Wars fans that wanted to see this, but it just hasn't had good word of mouth either. Have not seen that one. The Death of Robin Hood. Now, I joined Rachel Wagner last week on her Friday Flick show. And this is a show that she does every Friday. It's a live stream. And then she just talks about the various movies that are coming out this week. And so I saw a variety of the movies that were coming out. The Death of Robin Hood was one of them. And I told her, I'm going to go see a 10 o'clock showing because I wasn't able to see the press screening for this one. And so I was like, I'll see a 10 p.m. one the night before. And she's like, I think you shouldn't. And then listening to their discussion, I was grateful that she gave me that heads up just to not waste my time. It did very poorly. It did, 2.8 million on its opening. Leviticus opened up at 2.6. And then my favorite, number 10, you're 9 weeks out and you're still getting $2.1 million in the box office. Michael is is my man. So here's Michael. The reason I'm interested in this, I just want to see if it can cross the $1 billion. It is inching away. It's getting less and less theaters. It started with nearly 4,000 theaters, and now it's playing at 1,400 theaters. However, many of those are doing 1, maybe 2 showings a day, and so exponentially your returns are less. Now, there's still some of these other international markets that just recently opened up, like Japan, but yeah. So, okay, there's Toy Story 5 in the box office for the week. We'll see where this goes. I'm not sure what's opening up this weekend, but I'm pretty confident Toy Story 5 will continue to dominate. I can't think of what's the big one coming out this week. I don't think it's really a big contender. As far as animation and Disney wise, we have Minions and Monsters coming out July 1st, and then we have Moana. Moana, the live action remake, is not trending well for pre-sales, so they think this is going to be a big bomb. So those will be the next ones to track as far as animation. And so talking about Toy Story, I was really interested in this. This came up on X, and there's a lot of discourse on this about the 35 millimeter scans of Toy Story. And if you look at these things, these are stunning. So they film, they create the film digitally, and then they scan it onto these 35 millimeter prints. And obviously film has film grain, it has different colors. And these are just so lovely to look at. I think it just has this charm that the modern, releases that they had to do with it just can't compare. Now, Toy Story notoriously has been, the lighting specifically has been redone 3 times. They had to re-render the film multiple times when they're releasing it for DVD, and then they did a 4K. They did a 3D version, and every time they had to go back in and re-render the film in a higher percentage. And so one thing that I watched a YouTube video about this that was interesting. They had to redo the lighting effects for each time, and so it's mostly the same, but there are some slight differences, just because those files weren't available, so they had to kind of redo them. But there was a clip right here where you can see this is the or Toy Story 1, Strange Things Are Happening to Me segment. And you can see it's just very vibrant, very warm. And I love how the film grain's really able to, it's still the same movie, but it's just able to give it a lot more richness. It's less sterile than maybe some of the high fidelity HD ones that we get nowadays. Obviously, it's still looking really good. But yeah, apparently you can download these versions. I'm like, that's my question, is how are people getting a hold of these? How do you get a hold of the 35 millimeter scan? Please tell me more. But this is really pretty, really nice. Okay, so we have a thought. Supergirl and Jackie are opening this weekend. So Supergirl, I had the chance to see that and passed on it. I don't go to as many screenings as I probably should. They're always midweek. They're always, on a weekday. And I am trying to go to more, but I was going to go see this one, and then last minute I said, And it seems early reviews are not necessarily high on this film. So, let's check out the Rotten Tomatoes right now while we're at it. Oops, let's go right here. RottenTomatoes.com. Alrighty. Let's see. Supergirl. So right now, tomato meter is at 58% with 100. Let's enable the ads. Hold on a second. Hold on. Pause. Okay. Refresh. There we go. We have enabled the ads. Okay, 172 reviews so far, 58%. And then popcorn meter, no one really has seen it yet. These don't, you're not able to see the movie until later in the afternoon today. So yeah, there's people who are liking it, other people that are not. So it'll be interesting where that one does. The female-led superhero films don't do terribly well. For various reasons. I think Captain Marvel really is the exception to that, because that was the height of MCU mania, and they really teased it in one of those post-credit scenes. And so people went in, all for that movie, and then, take it or leave it how much you like it. But yeah, let's go back to the Rotten Tomatoes for Toy Story. No surprise there. We have 93% from the critics. It is certified fresh and verified hot from the audience with 95%. Sometimes they'll do a breakdown of all the Toy Story films. So, oh, well, we're getting kind of a mix in here with Onward and whatnot. But I think, I mean, all the Toy Stories are hot, hot, hot. Yeah, this isn't a good mix. Yeah, I saw one where you could see the different ones, but basically all Toy Stories are 95% and above. There's just a few nuances here and there. But yeah, that one is definitely, the audience and the critics are aligned. If I were to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, I'd give it a thumbs down. That it just didn't do it for me. And all right, let's close this. So I wanted to, Jeremiah, he says, those Toy Story frames, here we go, are really pretty. Could you look at some side-by-side comparisons of the digital versus 35 millimeter? Yeah, let me find it. There was a people talking about that. I didn't save those ones. Toy Story 35. Oops. They were showing that, and let's see if we can find those. It's hard. Oh, okay, here's one of the you can see in this one, this is the 35 millimeter. Let me try to make it bigger. The 35 millimeters on the right, on the left, and this one on the right is the digital. You can see how it's just a lot warmer. You know, these oranges right here, this red really pops. It's a lot more saturated rather than just kind of a smooth overall color. And yeah, even here, the shadows right here, the shadows are really what pop a lot more. It's really pretty. I really like it. So I'm trying to see if we can find another one. Let's see. It's hard. You know, Twitter or X is not the greatest for search. Like, you're very obvious what you're looking for, and they're like, no, I'm not gonna give you that. Yeah. So that's kind of the big one right here that you can see difference on. Let's see. Let's see. Before we talk about our other stuff, going off on He-Man and live action adaptations of old franchises, I'm tentatively hopeful for the live action Magic School Bus movie, despite them casting a non-redhead as Miss Frizzle. You know, I saw someone say, man, we really missed the opportunity to get a middle-aged, as they said it, big-bosomed redhead Miss Frizzle. I was like, you know what? Yes, we needed like this, she'd been in, Miss Frizzle's been teaching for 2-3 decades. She's been there. And the girl they cast is a lot younger. Let's see. Magic School Bus. I love how X is just the way that I'm trying to find they have a clip of, this girl, Elizabeth Banks. I mean, Elizabeth Banks, wasn't she in the Fantastic Four movie last year? I mean, she's middle-aged, but she's not, I guess she wasn't when people were thinking of Miss Frizzle. I mean, we need someone really, really out there, which we will see, but it'll be fun to see that one. Okay. I have a lot of respect for the original show. He's talking about the Magic School Bus. While focused on education, it had a lot of animation and memorable characters. I loved Magic School Bus. I vividly remember various plots that they did. You know, they went inside the human body or they went to space. Like, every episode was very distinctive and it was a lot of fun. And then last one, and let's be honest, that show contains as much, if not more, science than many, if not most adults know. Yes. Great show to introduce kids to, you know, the basics of science and the world around them. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is, if you have questions or comments, put them in and we'll talk about it after this. But so Netflix, I got an email from Netflix today where they are releasing, this is kind of their animation recap that they're doing. And so I wanted to talk about the different films that are coming out. So they have a variety of films and a few shows. Television shows. So this first one right here that I have on the screen, it's called In Waves. It's being released December 11th, 2026. And the tagline is, in Los Angeles, AJ, a shy teenager, meets Kristen. She loves surfing. He loves skateboarding and drawing. They fall madly in love and a happy future seems within reach. But everything changes when Kristen suddenly faces a sudden illness. Together they face adversity driven by the strength of their love, their friends, and their newly shared passion for the surfing and the ocean. So this is really the only bit that we have. We do have one more. Let's see. Let's see if I can. There's previously released images that we have here. Let's see what they look like. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, this is a better representation. We have, let's see, is this showing up? Yeah. Okay. So we kind of get a feel, kind of feels a little rotoscope to me. Just from the initial, we don't have a trailer yet. Yeah. Hold on. My headphones for my other thing are going off. Okay, so we got this surfing movie. Okay. Let me know if you're interested in this one. And then the next one is the one that I am all about. This is Ray Gun. I am pumped. December 18th, 2026. This we obviously know is Brad Bird, producers John Lasseter, David Ellison, Dana Goldberg, and Lisa Baroud. And this is Skydance Animation. So this is really, we have a little bit that's been released before, but let's check out these new images first. So let me give you, in case you don't know, the log line for this. In Metropia, a gigantic city in an alternate future as seen from 1939, Private Eye Raymond Gunn is drawn into a case involving aliens, murder, and a multimedia star named Venus Nova. So these designs are interesting. They kind of remind me of Monsters vs. Aliens look or Megamind. I'm getting vibes like that. And then we have this scene. I love the film, film noir or the Art Nouveau kind of, because it's set in the 30s. And let's go back to, I had another one that these are the previously released images. Here we go. So we got this character. This is the main character, Raymond. And then we're seeing, it's set in this world, but it's also very futuristic. Him and the alien looking good. And then this character, Venus. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, they just threw them all. Okay, that's good to know. They put them all into one big. I'm pulling from the press release that they sent me, and they have different links. They have a new image link and a previously released images, and it looks like the new images are being put into the folder that contains the previously released ones. So that's for me for future live streams to pay attention to. So I'm excited for this one. I like Brad Bird. I'm excited for him. While we're on the topic of Brad Bird, I saw this come up. It said, Pixar legend confirms Ratatouille 2 isn't happening, but there's a catch. I mean, we knew Ratatouille 2 wasn't happening, but let's hear what he has to say. Bird admitted, this was in an interview that he had done. He said, Bird admitted that let's see, can I make this a little bigger for y'all? Maybe? Oh yeah. Bird admitted that some folk at Pixar have tested the waters with him about returning to Paris once more, but he's content with where the story ended. He reminded that not all movies have to continue. So even though this movie has become a cult classic, and definitely at the parks, there's a lot of fans of this. It has its own ride. He's saying, no, not for me. He says, no, I don't. They've made little feints toward that, and I see how I would react. They'll like crack a joke, but the joke will be a bit serious. Like, would you? And I'm like, no, we told that story. Anytime you do something that ends up connecting with people, they automatically think, how about another? People have mentioned it about The Iron Giant, which is hilarious to me because that film didn't succeed at all in its initial release. It's caught up in its time. But what would you do to follow that up? He's lumbering around, still undiscovered. In other words, to me, that story is told. I think he makes a really, really good point that, you know what? We not every story has to continue just because it's popular. Some stories can be one-offs, and that's really important. He's talking about, and then he goes on talking about in The Incredibles 3. He says, now The Incredibles 3, I could see another Incredibles film. And that's interesting to me because isn't there another Incredibles film? I'm pretty sure there is another Incredibles film. And he's not directing because he's at Skydance. Yeah. Incredibles 3 is officially in production, and it has a theatrical release on June 16th, 2028. And Peter Sohn is directing. So I don't know if he's just kind of throwing Pixar a bone to keep happy relationships with everyone there. But notoriously, he says, I will not do an Incredibles 2 unless we have an amazing story. And I felt like I don't know, I'm reading between the lines, but I felt like he got strong-armed over the years. They finally wore him down. He's like, fine, yes, there's a story for Incredibles 2. We'll do it. And then I don't know, maybe the experience wasn't what he thought. I don't know. I didn't like that movie compared to the original, which is just 5 out of 5, perfect in my mind. But yeah, so Brad Bird, he's at a totally different studio now. I mean, not saying he can't ever come back. I think they're very open to bringing former directors back, other than, one key one. But so I thought that was interesting. And Ratatouille 2, no, please don't, Pixar. Just don't. I know you want to. We don't need it. No one wants it. Maybe a few people want it, but it's nice to end on a really, really high note. And here's another reason why I don't think Brad Bird would come back for Ratatouille 2 is because Ratatouille wasn't his original idea. He came in to save Ratatouille. And obviously the original director, has things to say about that. But, it wasn't going the direction the studio wanted. Lasseter brought Brad Bird in to take over, and he polished it up quite well and made quite a good film. So that's why I don't think, while he likes that movie, he's probably very proud of it, I just don't think that's where he wants to take his career, at this stage in the game. Okay. Alrighty. Then, so going back, this was, I don't really go into anime much, so I'll just mention this one, but it's called The Ribbon Hero. It's coming August 8th, 2026. It's inspired by Princess Knight by Osamu Tezuka. And so you can kind of get a feel right here of what this one's looking like. And yeah. And then there also is this next film that I'm interested in seeing. Let's just go to the previously released while we're at it. Or yeah. Whoops. Okay, this is Steps. If you haven't heard about this is the Cinderella. Let's tell the story from the stepsisters. Maybe they weren't so bad. It's coming out November 20th, 2026. So, man, they have quite a few films. The Ribbon Hero is coming in August, but we have Ray Gun, In Waves, and Steps coming out this November, December timeframe. They must have a peak of viewership during that time. I don't know. A lot of people are, I guess, home for holidays and wanting to watch stuff. So it'll be interesting. So here's the new images we have from Steps. These are the two stepsisters. It says, you think you know Cinderella's evil stepsisters? Think again. Sick of living in Cinderella's shadow, Lilith steals the fairy godmother's magic wand and hijacks the royal ball with her sister Margot, breaking the Cinderella story as we know it and doing the kingdom to the tyrannical rule of Priscilla, a villainous schemer who swoops in and snatches the throne. Now Lilith must team up with Cinderella, who's Amanda Seyfried, to fight biker trolls, outrun evil henchmen, and escape the Screaming Woods on an epic quest to save the kingdom. But most importantly, their relationship. They're all good. They're all good. Let's check out some other images from this real quick. Yeah, we've had quite a few. So here's Cinderella and one of the stepsisters. And this must be Lilith. No, this must be Priscilla, the evil Priscilla. I like the texture on the sleeves of this. If you can see it, probably, but it's just, you can feel that it looks like fabric. And here's the embroidering right here. That's pretty cool. Fairy godmother with the slipper. Oh, look how cute Cinderella looks. And yeah, this was the image that we've seen for a long time. It's very similar to this new one that they released. Oh, we got a new one right there. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Here's the two sisters and the fairy godmother. So yeah, interested. This one, I'm like, I just feel that this trope and this type of film, the redeemed bad guy, has just been done so much that it's getting very stale. And so they could win me over, but it's doesn't feel in 2026 very original. On top of that, Cinderella 3 is an amazing movie, surprisingly, for a direct-to-video threequel. They did this story already. Not saying that Disney owns everything related to Cinderella, because obviously there have been, innumerable different adaptations of Cinderella. But yeah, okay. So now we're moving on to the series. And next up it's called Alley Cats. It's coming out August 7th, 2026. Alley Cats is a sitcom created by and starring the multi-award-winning Ricky Gervais. The adult animation follows the trials and tribulations of a group of feral British cats from all walks of society who seek the companionship while ruminating in everyday life. From the funny and absurd, the series is packed with Gervais's signature style of heart and social commentary that audiences have come to expect. So there you go. We're getting these little Alley Cats right here. It's 2D animation at first glance, so that'll be interesting to see, but it's an adult animation. You know, it's so funny. When you think of adult animation, the OG is Fritz the Cat. So we'll see. I'm sure it's not going in Fritz the Cat territory, but you never know. But this will be an interesting one. So that one's coming out sooner rather than later in August. And then we have Ghostbusters Night Shift. So this is a new series that they are coming out with. They say this is coming out in 2027, and we only have one still from this, but it's Ghostbusters. I mean, they keep going to the back to the well for this. Do you think Ghostbusters is one of these films that should have stopped at one? I am thinking maybe we should have, but we'll see. This kind of looks really interesting, this fire demon monster character, and then we have the Ghostbusters. It's set in New York, 1994, 5 years after the Ghostbusters took the Statue of Liberty for a walk. A new wave of supernatural terror hits the Big Apple, forcing a group of scrappy young New Yorkers, untrained, underappreciated, and kind of sort of responsible for the problem, to put on proton packs, face their fears, and bust some ghosts. So we're getting totally new crew as far as people who are involved in that. Oh, we have some concept art here. Let's check this out real quick. And the last one is One Piece. It's going to be coming out in February 2027. I haven't really, I've not followed the One Piece. Apparently One Piece just has thousands of seasons. So here's our scrappy gang. We got someone on a skateboard. We got someone with is that a pig? Oh dear. Okay. So that's the new coming up from Netflix. So let me know, which ones are you most excited for out of that group? And while we're at it, we have Hexed. We didn't talk about Hex. That came out within the past week. And Jeremiah says, I really like the Hex teaser trailer. The teaser, to me, was visually pretty. Yeah, people are, man, the internet can be a really mean place. People are saying, oh my gosh, this is AI slop. This is garbage. Yet another, girl boss who realizes she's not the problem. Everyone else is. We shall see. We shall see. I'm a little disappointed they switched the character from when it was initially announced from a male protagonist and his mom to female. Not sure why they did that, but it'll be interesting to see the final result. And another thing that happened this week was the Shrek 5 trailer came out a year early. I mean, I feel like I'm back in 1995. Do you remember when we used to see the trailers for movies coming out a year later? And that's what we're getting with Shrek 5. And I thought it was pretty fine. Like everyone else, I don't love the redesign of Shrek. I think some of the charm of the Shrek franchise is that it was circa 2001, and they kind of kept it looking that way. Like, it's this pseudo-realistic characters as far as humans. They're like almost Uncanny Valley, but it's just so perfect for Shrek. And I haven't seen some of the human characters, but I like that about Shrek. It was imperfect. It was weird. It was funky, and they've totally changed Shrek's design. And Fiona got a nose job. And even Donkey looks different, but most people won't notice. But if you're an animation addict and you're like looking at all this stuff, then you definitely will. Jeremiah says, I really thought Billy was a fresh take on the adorkable trope everyone talks about. Silly and awkward, but capable and assured. And I'm excited to see more of this world and these characters. Oh, going back, talking about Hex. Okay. And then about Ray Gun, the frames shown from Ray Gun look so classically inspired and atmospheric, notably the lighting in particular. Can't wait for the teaser. Yes, they've done it. You can tell, obviously, that Brad Bird is classically trained, and he's been in the business a really long time. I'm trying to find all these stills. I don't know where I put them. Yeah, but it's a fun world, and just like we've talked about on the podcast before, they screen tested this so much. Like, we were getting emails and emails and emails, and I was hearing people. I mean, I didn't hear anyone who had gone, but they really were targeting this older teenager, 12 and up audience. And it looks cool. It looks, I mean, doesn't she give Mirage vibes? I'm interested in what's happening here. So, and then just this shot right here is pretty cool. So, okay. Oh, sorry. I'm not even showing my screen. Sorry, everyone. Here we go. But you've seen it before. You know, we got this screen right here where they're talking. And then, sorry, my computer's kind of rendering it. And then, yeah, this girl reminds me of, not Mystique. I just said her name. I can't remember her name from The Incredibles. So there we go. Yeah. So what else do we have to talk about, everyone? Let me know your thoughts. Covered quite a bit on here, which is fun. Yeah. I have a new microphone. Okay. The green screen is going to go crazy and not show this properly, but I found quite a deal on Facebook Marketplace. And so I'm excited to revamp my studio and to get rid of the green screen. I know you love thinking that I am on tour with Powerline, but the wonky green screen, you can just see it if you're watching the video. It's not my favorite. I would like a better backdrop. So I just need some time to get that all set up and going. But I feel like just showing up every week, doing these live streams is going to help. And, you know, we'll get the studio there when we need to. But another thing, we got more from Jeremiah. I was less than pleasantly surprised about the news that there's a new Ron Howard Grinch material planned. No hate to Jim Carrey. He gave the Grinch his all. But I'm looking forward to a second Ron Howard Grinch the way I look forward to a second Spanish Inquisition. I love it, Jeremiah. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool ones that are coming out. I mean, there's Cat in the Hat coming out later. I don't know if that one's necessarily as looked forward to as the Grinch, but yeah, I'm trying to think of the original. I mean, Ray Gunn is this original film, and I really want to see it in theaters. This would be a really fun one to see in theaters, just from, you know, just looking at it, knowing who's behind it. Brad Bird, when people ask my favorite animated films, my top 5, Ratatouille's in there and The Iron Giant's in there. So I like what he does. So we'll see what's happening with that. But yeah, let me take a drink of water in honor of Toy Story 5. I guess this is my Woody's Roundup Gang drink, which is has cows and cowboy boots and cacti all around it. It's fun. So yeah, okay. So as far as, you know, housekeeping news, you know, as we're wrapping this stream up, I know people have been asking for the Patreon for a long time. Our Patreon has been deactivated for a few years now. And really the only reason that I haven't put it on is because I get really in my head about the tiers and, you know, what we're promising people. And I think I just need to really get over that and just launch it, you know, bare bones, like, hey, do you want to show it? Support us? Here you go. Here's the way you can, and move forward from there. So yeah. I need to get to that. So I know Jeremiah specifically has asked about that. And I think this would be a good place for these live streams to go in the future. The live streams will be, they'll go exclusive, you know, they'll be on YouTube for 3 days, because I think that's the 2 or 3 days is the time that it stays on, and then it goes private. Now I can always make it unprivate and just put it on there. But I think what I want to do is I want to just export this to make it patron only. And then maybe clip out different sections of this for, you know, short videos where I'm talking about, you know, different aspects of things, or try to put it on shorts and all the things. It's just one other thing to do, though. But for sure, I'm just going to make this, I think, you know, in a few weeks. We'll just get in the groove with this. And then in a few weeks, we'll make it patron only once the Patreon is up. So yeah, thanks for joining us for this episode, or this little live stream. This was fun. I'm excited to do it again. So I think I'll put in the community tab of YouTube, I will let us know when next week. So we'll just plan on Thursdays, but I want to go a little earlier. I hope this time works for everyone. I know it's kind of a weird time, but this is one time that I'm very consistently available. And I think I want to do 11:30 Pacific time, maybe even 11. So we'll just keep like pushing it back until we find this happy medium. But I'm going to put my stake in the ground, my flag in the ground. We're going to do 11:30 next week. So on Thursday. So be sure to join next week. And that's all I have for today. Until next time, see you later. to the Animation Addicts podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to help spread the word, be sure to share the podcast with your friends on social media. Just don't forget to tag us at Rotoscopers on Instagram and use the hashtag AnimationAddicts. For all the links and full show notes for this episode, go to rotoscopers.com/podcast. Now, if you still can't get enough for your animation fix, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and visit rotoscopers.com for more animation news, reviews, and interviews. Thanks for listening.